I'm going to talk a little bit around how to market your business in today's complex digital environment. Because it's not like the old days where you used to just put an ad in the newspaper or the radio and people would walk into your store and you would be able to sell to them. And there's still a lot of businesses that do that. They're working on a model that was designed to sell stuff to our grandparents. And consumer behaviour has changed. Feel free to jump in. There's a lot of jargon around marketing, which I pretend to understand all of it. But if I use a phrase or a word that you think, hang on, I've got no idea what that means, it might be an acronym, just stick your hand up, please. Just interrupt me. One of the key things I talk about when we talk to people about marketing is that the fundamentals have not changed. The only difference today is how do we apply those fundamentals in a vastly different market and economy than to when these fundamentals were first sort of pulled together into textbooks, which we teach people at uni and stuff like that. So things about how people make buying decision, the steps they go through in the buying decision process, the need for a value exchange, the need for your business to be able to fulfill a real need, want, or solve a problem. All those fundamentals of marketing are still there. Anybody that talks to you about social media marketing or search engine optimization or content marketing or any of the fancy new terms, they really need to be spoken about in the context of how they apply to marketing fundamentals. I was going to say I probably can, but I might not get it perfect. But I could probably tell you the textbook definition of marketing in that it is the all-encompassing processes and steps that a business goes through, the blah, 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 blah. But it doesn't really tell you anything. What I find encompasses all of that and resonates with people is that marketing is about finding people with a need and getting them to trust you. People will not buy off you unless they trust you at some level, that you can deliver on what you promise, or that's probably basically it, that you can deliver on what you say you can. Okay? The issue that we have now is that everybody says that. We've got a dedicated team, we're a local business, we're professionals, we take pride in our work. Makes you sound just like the person next door. So we need to find new ways to get people to trust us. This is the buyer decision process. That is the 6 steps everybody goes through, whether you're picking a venue for a breakfast event, you're picking a lawyer, you're buying chewing gum. These are the 6 steps you go through. You become aware you've got a problem. Okay? I've got bad breath. My wife's having triplets and my 1-bedroom apartment's not going to cut it anymore. I become aware I've got a problem. I then research options. Okay? I then evaluate those options. I rule some in, I might rule 4 or 5 options in, I might rule some out. But I research and I evaluate my options, then I make a decision. Then I actually purchase, I hand over money, I sign documents, whatever I need to do to get access to the service or the product. And then the key step here that a lot of businesses miss, and that is why it's in red, is because every time we make a decision, either subconsciously or really quickly, or we might put a lot of thought into it, we make a decision about we make an evaluation on whether that was the right decision. I should never have bought a Ford. I'm so glad I bought a 2-storey house, whatever it might be. And a lot of businesses think that once they've made the purchase, we just go back up to what is essentially a fancy way to illustrate your sales funnel. Okay? Early leads, qualified leads, customers. There is still lots of opportunities to engage and talk with your current customers. So a couple of key stats that I usually talk to people about is that 87% of people search online for information to solve their problem at some stage in that buyer decision process. I don't know what the other 13% are doing, whether they just ring their mum and ask her a couple of questions, but 87% of people go online. They don't walk into your shop because they need a new TV and start talking to you and get sold to. And that's probably why they're online, because none of us in this room like to be sold to. We want to be in control of that, our own buyer decision process. The other one is that people move through that process, on average, 60% of the way before they make contact with your business. So let that sink in for a little bit, right? So if I go back 2 slides, they move 60%, I've got a laser pointer, They move 60% of the way through this process before they pick up the phone, before they email you. But a lot of businesses have a website that they think, well, if people go there, they'll just pick up the phone. They're on your website because they don't want to talk to you yet. The key challenge for you is how do you engage with people in those early stages of the buyer decision process so they make contact with you. People consume, on average, 10.4 pieces of information in making a decision. The challenge for a business is how many of those pieces of information are going to be generated by you or your competitors, okay, in that buyer decision process. And good content, that information that we produce, whether it's brochures, whether it's events, whether it's webinars, videos, blogs, whatever it might be, good content affects behaviour and gets shared 4 times more powerfully than advertising. Advertising is an old model designed to sell stuff to our grandparents. One of the interesting things that I see a lot of businesses doing, okay, is openly acknowledging, yes, that's true. I consume content, I go online and search, and I never just, when I realise I need a new TV, ring somebody up or walk into their shop and talk to them about a new TV. That's exactly what I do. I understand what you're saying. But they expect their own customers to act differently to how they act. It's very naive. So we need to think about, this is how I act, it's exactly how my customers act. What that means for you, there's a couple of things in the digital environment that you should probably be thinking about, or at least considering. Not saying that you should do it, everybody's unique obviously. There's AdWords, so you can pay Google to provide ads here and here when people search terms such as plumber's goldman, okay? These are your organic search results, which you kind of get there by magic with a lot of different things that I don't really want to go into right now. You can have reviews, okay? I probably should have put places first. So your business, if you're a place that people go to, like this restaurant, you should be set up on Google Places so that your directions are there, your phone numbers are there, and your contact details, and also so that people can leave reviews, because that's social proof of that trust that you can say you can deliver on what you're saying you can deliver. Because hopefully people are leaving good reviews. Otherwise that tells you something. So one of the best ways to build trust with people is with content marketing. And this is a bit of not a pure academic definition, but content marketing is an umbrella term for any marketing that involves the creation and sharing of media and publishing that content in order to acquire customers. And that's ultimately what we're trying to do. We're all trying to make money. The basic premise is to provide valuable information or entertainment that stops short of a direct sales pitch or call to action, but seeks to influence the customer in some sort of positive way. In other words, get them moving through those 6 steps towards choosing you as their solution provider. Why is content important? The first point is always because it helps us make money. Second one is that it helps us own the channels. Okay? I can own my own website. I can own the blog on that website. I can own my social media channels to a certain extent. We know that traditional advertising is less effective. Content that you produce yourself is a great way to build trust, because it quite often is a vehicle for your personality of not just you but also your business. It's great brand awareness because we know people share that content. It's always a great way to demonstrate your expertise. So just like we've all stood up here today and explained how we might do things or share expertise, that shows that we can do it, shows that we can do what we say we can do, and hopefully that builds trust with people. So content's a great way to do that. It's always accessible. If I want to find out about what you do at 9:30 at night, I don't want to wait until 9 o'clock in the morning to ring you. So going onto your website, reading the normal pages, I probably want to consume some sort of content that gets into the nitty-gritty around the problem or the need that I have. It does play an important role in enhancing your search engine optimization. So that is getting up in these organic results, because you're generally using lots of keywords that people are punching into Google. And you can create lots of good landing pages so people come from your ads to pages that are content, not just your home page, and hope people find what they're looking for. It allows you to build an audience, because if you're creating good content, one of the things you should be asking for in order to deliver that good content to them on a regular basis, because they're not always going to be going back to your website day in, day out, is their email address. Nearly every other channel to communicate with your customers, you rent off people. You don't own it. You put something on Facebook, you don't own that audience. Put something in the newspaper, you don't own that audience. You're only renting it for a period of time. So there's businesses that have built great followings on Facebook, they don't own that. Facebook changes the game, changes the algorithm, which they do quite regularly. It affects your business. And it's very, very cost effective. There's always the opportunity cost of spending time creating content like blogs, ebooks, white papers, fact sheets, that sort of stuff. There's always the opportunity cost with the time, but it's certainly very cost effective. So what sort of things should you create content around? There's probably 6 key buckets. Whatever questions you get asked by your customers should be a piece of content on your website. You should talk about problems in your industry. You should be open and transparent. Nobody thinks that your industry is perfect, okay? And they will trust you more if you talk more openly. Talk about problems you've encountered in doing your work with other people and how you solved it, because it tells people how you're going to avoid making that problem or mistake with other people. You could talk about versus, so you might say, I don't know, the advantages and the pros and cons of living in the north, east, south or west. You might do reviews. So if we're a tech company, for example, we might review certain hardware or software or different ways of doing things and provide people our view on it. We might go through a list of things and tell people on Wednesdays, this is your best option, okay? And you should definitely talk about price, because that's generally what people want to know. So what does this content look like? This is not an exhaustive list, but it includes things like blogs, ebooks, which are basically just PDFs, white papers, which are again PDFs, but a little bit more in depth and thought leadership type stuff, slide packs like these presentations, excuse me, podcasts, so audio, webinars, which is video, fact sheets, images, videos on YouTube, case studies and infographics. It includes all of that. Anything that adds value and seeks to influence your customers in a positive way would be content. Your website should be the hub of all your content. You should have it set up so that there's great content, engaging content that seeks to influence people positively as they move through those 6 steps. But your website is definitely your hub. It's where you should embed your videos and slide packs and your audio. Your AdWords should send people to your website. It should be where you're capturing leads and things like that. It's really important that your website is the hub. Getting it in front of people on a regular basis, your email database is great. I don't have time to go into it now, but you do need to be aware of spam laws. Give us a call if you want to have a chat. Take me about 5 minutes to run you through what you can and can't do and the best way to use email marketing. You can syndicate your content on other websites, which is a great way to get links back to your website, which Google likes, and certainly expands your audience. And social media is obviously a pretty obvious channel for getting content in front of people. Content marketing takes time. If you need sales next month, you've got to put your money into advertising. Advertising puts really strong calls to action in front of people, hope it is in front of people when they have a need or a problem and they ring you. If you need sales next month, you've got to use advertising. I'd suggest you probably have a mix of things, but content like this takes time. We know that you don't have a handful of seeds, throw it in the garden, spray some water on it, go inside, have a beer, watch footy, have a sleep, wake up, and tomorrow your garden's full of awesome vegetables. It doesn't work like that. Content's the same. Now, I'm not much of a gardener, so if I misstep here, forgive me. But I'm assuming you have to talk to your plants. I hear people talk to their plants. You've got to pull the weeds out, the grubs, or whatever it is. It takes time, it takes nurturing. You've got to be committed to it, but we know that the payoff is great in the long run. Okay? And once you get in the cycle, it's great. But you don't plant your vegetable garden one day and walk out there the next and it's full of vegetables. So there's a couple of quotes. I've almost finished. Just a couple of businesses, just in dealings and blogs that I read and sites that I come across that I'm impressed with. I always like to try and get other people's quotes and impressions on how content marketing has helped them. This is a real estate agent. He says, writing a regular blog with content that holds the attention of the reader has helped me position myself as an expert in my field. Now this is verbatim, okay? This in turn translates into a growth in my business. I'm now winning new clients who come to me as a direct result of the blog output. They feel confident to instruct me as I've already connected with them through the blog, so my competitors remain faceless strangers to them who lurk in the shadows whilst I take centre stage with the spotlight firmly fixed on me. Okay? Because people are moving through that buy decision process 60% of the way before they contact. So creating content like a blog is great. Content marketing allows them to start the conversation way before the client signs up and perhaps even before they've decided to take action. That means that when the time comes for them to take action, anyone who has been conversing with them will have a distinct advantage going in as a warm lead, not a cold one. It's the best thing I ever did though, and it's responsible for around 80% of my leads. So a couple of key takeaways as I wrap up for you. Make sure people can find you easily, okay? So if you've got the budget, have AdWords so that when people go onto Google and have a pointy need that they're looking for something, you're potentially positioning ads for them. You should have maybe some advertising. Again, it should be a mix of things. And search engines with Google Places and reviews are all free things that you can do, okay? Build your own audience, don't rent it. Create great content for every step of the buy decision process, so we seek to positively influence people as they move along. Focus on what people need. It's probably a key thing, okay? Don't focus on what you get out of it. One of the key questions before you publish any content should be, why would somebody care? Not, I care because it means I can get 4 leads this month, okay? Think about how you're going to distribute your content, because it's definitely not a case of if you build it, they will come. You've got to think about how you distribute your content. And if you look at that, and you think that all sounds really great, but it sounds really big and scary, pick where you think the weakest point in that buy decision process is for some quick wins. If it's leads, focus on content at the top. If you have trouble, if you get lots of leads but you can't close sales, focus on content that will help you close sales. And if you give me a call or shoot me an email, I can tell you the types of content that are best at each of those steps. Ultimately, content is the glue that binds all your offline activities, in-person sales, events, all that sort of stuff, and your online activities, binds them all together in today's digital environment.